Good morning, Women of Vision. This is Casey Strohmeyer, and we are going live this morning with Michele Laine. So we are going to get her to join us. Let me get her on. Let's see. Did you find it, Michele? I've done this once before, so I'm making sure guest requests. There we go, it's on. And now I'm waiting for viewers. Are you viewing the live yet, Michele?
I don't see it yet. I don't see a notification either. There you are. You're just gonna get on the live, right?
Yeah, oh, there we go. Add Michele.
Go live.
Do you see anything? Do you see something that says draw it at the top? I'm like, I don't know what that is.
I don't see anything yet. Still thinking that.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay, I'll turn Be Live off so we're not echoing.
Okay, me too. I know. Getting rid of it.
Sorry, guys, for the delay.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm awesome. How are you doing from Hawaii?
We're good. We're good. We're just getting adjusted and having some good time and sharing a small space together as family.
That's awesome.
So it's good. It's 3 hours earlier here, so it always makes such a difference in the morning when you realize you guys are later, but now we're earlier, and it felt normal when we got here, and a couple days in now, this feels normal, so I don't know what that means going on.
That's awesome. So you're from
sure.
Chico and you're in Hawaii. Are you there for business or just
Yes.
for family vacation?
We're here for family vacation.
Nice.
Yeah, it's spring break at our kids' school.
Oh, great.
So.
That's important.
Yeah.
Spending time together with family. I love it. So I'm so happy to be here this morning with you, Michele. I always love seeing your posts on Facebook and all the awesome things that you do for women in the community.
Thank you.
Yeah. How long have you lived in Chico?
We've been in Chico almost 21 years. Wow. Just really shy of 21 years now. Yeah, we moved right before our first was born, and we've been there ever since. We've grown a business in Orland until 2013, and now we're strictly in Chico, and we're doing all kinds of new things. And one of my new adventures is my coaching.
That's
so
exciting.
I've been really happy to connect with women. Yeah,
that's really awesome. Sure. So I'm gonna read the Women of Vision mission statement, and then, well, I think first I will introduce Michele to you all. Okay, I have to read from my Facebook. I should have printed it out, so hopefully it doesn't. There. 1 second. Okay.
No worries. I'm gonna see if I can share us on my page.
Oh, good morning, good. Jamie. Jamie from Avenue Real Estate Co. in Reading is watching.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Michele Laine is a best-selling author, speaker, and lifestyle transformation coach who helps clients make deep internal shifts so they can change their habits and health, quit their inner critic, and up-level success in all areas of their lives. She's passionate about helping women transform their inner and outer world, prioritizing themselves and taking care of their health, mind, and body and spirit. Michele's coaching combines powerful neurotransformation and brain spotting modalities to get to the root of what's holding them back. That's awesome. She helps them stretch beyond comfort zones, conquer fears, break through sabotaging, limiting beliefs, behavior, and habits to achieve the results desired in life. She is a wife, a mother of 2 daughters, aged 20 and 14, and she lives in Northern California, in Chico. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, in fact, Jenna, our littlest, just had her 14th birthday yesterday. So she gets all the cool locations when we go away on vacation for spring break.
Girl.
Right?
That's awesome. I have a 14-year-old daughter.
Oh, Oh, that's
Hmm.
fun. I think we talked about that when we were chatting last week.
Yeah,
I
we did.
remember.
So,
This is
yeah,
fun.
I'll go ahead and read the Women of Vision statement and mission statement and vision. Our vision is together, women of vision will promote, support, motivate, and empower each other to achieve our dreams. With a spirit of integrity and excellence, we will motivate and thrive, activating our unique abilities. By empowering each other, we will not only achieve our personal and professional goals, but positively affect our communities economically, ethically, and socially to then duplicate success in women throughout Reading and beyond. Women of Vision is a movement, not a meeting. We are women empowering women locally and globally. We connect female professionals and entrepreneurs to fuel a fundamental paradigm shift from competition to collaboration, solitude to accountability. Collectively, we will encourage powerful women to become change agents in our community and throughout the world. I love that.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to have you on this morning. And we have a few viewers. Let's say hello and good morning. I only see Jamie. Give us a wave or a heart if you're watching and let us know where you're watching from.
Yes. Yeah, I can see the comments on my computer, so I'm gonna look back and forth.
Cool. Yeah,
Awesome.
you can go ahead.
We had some technology challenges this morning. It's my technology skills.
Hey, it happens. That's what happens live.
It's
Yeah.
keeping it real.
So, Michele, when did you start your coaching, in 2013 or?
I started my venture towards coaching in 2013. Once we had a stone business, and once the economy had changed back in '08 to '13, a lot of the industry that we were in had changed quite a bit with that housing collapse.
Right.
And so once that finalized in 2013, we were kind of faced with, I was faced with, what do I want to do? Do I want to continue in accounting, which was my background? I was self-taught into finance and accounting for our businesses, or do something else. And when I asked myself that question, it was really difficult to figure out what the heck I would want to do. Like, what would the options be? And I realized I'd kind of lost myself a little bit. And so I started with a list of passions, kind of that list of what did I used to do? What do I like to do? What would I want to do in the future? And so I started to kind of just go, wow, okay, how many of these things on this list am I actually doing? And even from a simpler standpoint, like, I wasn't dancing. I used to love to dance. I have a degree in dancing, actually, a teaching of dance. Writing was one other one. And I was walking and taking care of myself, just some of the things that were so simple in our everyday life that I ended up going back to and thought, this is where I'm going to start. And that led into writing some more, which led into an opportunity to blog on a friend's blog site, which led to me creating my own. And then all of a sudden, because our story was so unique and we had such a series of loss during that '08 to '13 period, we were often said, hey, you should write a book, you should write a book. And one day I just kind of went, you know what, I think I am going to write a book. I'm going to self-publish my own book.
Ooh.
And so I wrote Stronger Than the Storm. And it was the first half of our story, and the other half was kind of how we got through these stressful events that happened for a period of 5 years over and over again, from the loss of our business to the loss of our house to the loss of 5 family members who passed away that 3 years into all that. So it was kind of like getting hit one after the other, kind of like anything else, like with the fires, with everything seems to happen and then kind of trickle down from there before it gets better. And I think it happens in life with phases, right? And so taking that question even a little further was, what do I want to do? Do I want to stay in accounting? I had a chance to do something completely different. And although that fueled a passion with numbers and puzzle solving, it wasn't something I thought I wanted to do forever. So after writing the book, I was invited to launch it, and maybe start talking on podcasts and really being visual, being seen. And I realized internally, like, I was having some fear around that. And so something so simple as getting yourself out there and marketing became kind of a bigger fear and kept me frozen. So I realized there was a little more internal work for myself to do. And all the while, the book was perpetuating opportunity. And it was like this big gift of saying, hey, let's expand yourself now. Let's see what happens when we reach past those comfort zones. Let's take what you've learned in this other capacity and put it into life in a whole nother piece of the pie,
Isn't
right?
that crazy what
And
happens when we listen to
oh my
ourselves?
gosh.
And
And so thank you, because that was the biggest piece. It was like, where else can I start really listening internally to what was being said, what was being guided towards me, instead of feeling like I was pulling myself away. And so I started jumping into that, and I met just the right people at the right time. I had a speaking engagement in health and wellness on a women's retreat that was really awesome. The couple years prior, I'd helped put it on. So I was dabbling in event planning, not sure if I wanted to go that way in a direction. And then I realized I kind of wanted to be in the forefront, but then that was kind of big and scary, right? And from there, it became another opportunity to speak at a women's event that was live in Chico called Spark. And now it's an annual event streaming from Portland, California. But I get on stage and help talk to women about different topics as well. There's a bunch of women just empowering us in our lives and how we can dive into that fear and become the better version of ourselves. So through that, some coaching opportunities came with women. And at the right time, I met the person who is my mentor today. And he was teaching coaching from the perspective of neurotransformation, which is taking that those internal feelings, those internal blocks, and breaking through them so you can step through the fear, and teaching your clients how to do the same thing by recognizing self, right? Diving into where we're having some kind of emotional attachment that's keeping us stuck, whether it's anxiety or whether it's fear or anything else that might be coming up, where it keeps you from going from where you know you want to be and where you have the potential for being. And there's a bridge in the way from you jumping into that. Have you ever felt that in your life?
absolutely. Yeah. And I know that fear is probably the number one thing that keeps people from succeeding in everything in life.
So many things, right? And so that journey was like, I was like just drinking it in. How can I learn more? Like, it's learning about our brain, how our brain works, where our subconscious works, where our unconscious mind makes over some decisions based off of habits and patterns in our life. And I just dove head and foot in and just started having more opportunity the more I followed this calling, and have had more clients. And I love just helping women discover those things in themselves, just like I did, right? Because what I'm learning is things in myself that I needed to open and expand and really get to know, and stop covering and stop hiding and stop distracting from myself. And when I combine that with my love of health and wellness, it starts to really shed a picture on where we're taking care of ourselves and where we're not, and where we're tucking it underneath the bench a little bit and trying to help everybody else and fix all the problems instead of really looking internally. And so when we take that same scenario and we're able to better look at what we're doing and why we're doing it and what's driving us and where our values are, and kind of putting that piece together, it becomes a little clearer with a 360-degree view in what we're doing to ourselves. In a sense, the self-sabotage, which is kind of, an intense word, but at the same time, it's either we're helping ourselves towards our goals, or we're sabotaging ourselves away from it. And it's usually based upon a fear somewhere of being, what I find a lot of is feeling good enough, or the visibility. There's usually an emotional attachment somewhere down the line with that. And the work that I do with neurotransformation really helps us dive underneath the surface and helps the client heal, because I believe that whoever has the problem has the solution. Mm-hmm. And we just have to figure out where it's at, and how they can find those answers by taking the blinders away.
I'd like to ask our viewers, what do you think, or have you felt a fear that has kept you from doing something that you really wanted to do? And if you'd like to share that with Michele, put it in the comments, and maybe she can answer any questions for you, and how to overcome that.
Yeah. And even one step further, like, how about with our health? Like, we talked about habits of health as a topic, right? Like, what are the habits that are keeping us away from our goal? And are we aware of them? Sometimes I find a lot of women are conscious of a few of them. And then as we dive in, we see patterns that are showing up in other areas of our lives, maybe in finance, or in our social interaction, or in our environment. And that's what's fascinating to me, because I think if we can go in and fix ourselves where we feel better, and can really identify those things without guilt, without the judgment, and really just pay attention and awareness, and then taking action towards what we want, it starts to have that trickle effect down in other areas of our lives as well, because we're feeling better.
Right. So if you feel good, you
So
do good, right?
it's an energetic flow.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're fixing or overcoming that fear or problem, and it can even cause internal health problems. So once
It really can. It really can. That energetic. So, as an example of that, through that storm that we went through a couple years later, as life's getting a little bit better and not feeling like we're in the thick of it, both my husband and I started having some health issues related around even hormones. And so we thought, oh, well, maybe we're just hitting of that age right now. But stress is a really, really, really big player in how we feel in daily life. And we are so good as women, as people today, in juggling so many things. And we forget that even though we can handle it, it's still a stress response in our body. And that comes from our daily interaction, to our job, to the foods we're putting in our body, to how we're exercising, if we are, if we aren't. Like, all those little things are still stress. And because we've gone through this huge life event changing stressor, systems were off. And so that energy was stored in from just like, okay, I'm feeling this, I've had this emotion, we had people pass away in our family, and there was no time to really grieve. It was just on to the next thing. And I believe those emotions get stored in our body, and that turns out into other health areas of our life as well, whether that's illness or disease, dis-ease, from the energetic component that gets stored with that. It's heavy,
it
right?
is. Yeah, I totally believe that works that way. So if you can explain to our viewers, like, what can they do to have those habits of good health? Is there like daily
Um,
exercise or meditating?
yes. And so back to even stress, there are many, many things we can do to help combat the stress, because I don't think it's efficient to think we're ever not going to have stress. We live in a busy world, and I think it's about managing our day, managing ourselves, really tuning into what we need. And one simple way to do that is really recognizing what you might be missing. Like, we talk about filling our cup a lot, right? Where is that cup leaking? And we don't always know if we're getting into our intellectual mind. We can it'll start telling us all the things we're not doing, right? But if we can put our hands on our heart and take a deep breath and just slow into that and breathe, we can often ask the question, what do I need right now? And the answer will come. The answer will come in tune of, you'll know, like, I'm too busy, I need to pull away from my schedule, or I just need a few minutes to myself. And is that every day? Is that in form of a bath? Is that in form of meditation? If you're a meditator, or if you like to just sit quietly, I believe that if we can start to tune into those things and honor the action that follows it instead of just listening, then we fulfill a little bit more of the volume in the cup, so we're feeling a little more filled. And when we don't, it's when we're feeling a little more frazzled and overwhelmed. So along those lines of checking in with self, if you find yourself saying, I'm feeling frazzled, or I'm stressed, or I'm overwhelmed, and we have all those ED endings to the words, we can simply just reframe it and changing the ED words to an ING ending and ask, what's overwhelming me? What's frustrating me? What's stressing me out? And those answers will also come. And if you need to just hold on to your heart and give yourself like a little hug in doing that, it truly, truly works. It'll be the gentle voice that comes in and says, I'm not getting time for myself, or I'm just feeling like my schedule is too big, too packed. That's the best way I can describe it. And then just practicing. Consistency is key, and really honoring those things that we need. And maybe on a third level, just taking down that black or white thinking, and it has to be an hour of walking or an hour of working out, or the whole, like, either this or that thinking, into maybe how can we break it into small chunks, small little pieces that help us in the day. Is it a choice on a meal that we take? Is it a choice on taking 3 to 5 minutes to get outside and walk and see how we feel, and then doing that consistently so we can open up that space in our schedule? A lot of it has to do with self-boundaries and what we're allowing in and what we're saying yes to and what we're not saying no to,
So
out of fear for someone else's
yeah,
thoughts.
so if you're you get, after you ask, what is it that I need to, or what is it that's bothering me, if it's stress, then do you then again say, what is causing me stress? And then if it's your
I
schedule,
think they go
yeah.
hand in hand. Yeah.
And then,
I think if we actually take the time to sit and ask the question and changing the state of I am into saying that I'm stressed and that's just me right now, when we say those words, our language means so much in what we're saying and what we're thinking. Versus what is it that's stressing me out? We ask a better question to our mind that it can focus on an answer. Because if we're just stating that we are this way, then we stay in that state. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It's a simple little shift. And I find, when I started actually doing this, I found, man, I never asked myself, what is it that I need? What is it that I want? What is it that's stressing me out? And the simplest of answers came. And if I took 2 to 3 minutes to step away in that moment of feeling the biggest amount of that emotion, I could find something for myself that I needed, and I could regroup and then come back in and approach it from a different angle. So I would say self-wise, self-awareness, and just kind of checking in with self would be the way we can start the best, in a simple form of just checking in to seeing what's going on in our life. And even though these are simple ways, they're not always easy depending on what's happening, right?
So,
and I'd probably say one other thing is just knowing that you're not alone. You know, like a lot of women, we have this group, we have lots of support, and we may feel like we're the only one going through what we're going through, and then we feel the tendency to not bother somebody with it. But I think when we're willing to share our vulnerability and our stories and be open, we're able to receive a little bit better from others in our life, and therefore we can hear a little bit differently than we might be.
Thank goodness for Facebook
otherwise.
And social media, right? So we can listen to others
right.
and their stories and just realize, you know, oh, that's me too. I can totally relate. And you just kind of listen and then start to do what other people are doing, and whatever works for them might work for you.
Yeah, and I love that too. It's really, thank you, because it's important to know what works for us, and we're not going to know until we start tuning in, because we can start with someone else's plan, maybe whether it's food or your morning routine. We hear a lot of things right now, what's going to make us better in the morning. And I think a lot of these things are valid, whether you journal or meditate or obviously watching the foods that we're putting into our bodies and how we're expecting it to operate. But if we don't truly know what works for our body, then we're just kind of spinning our wheels in a sense. I think it's super valuable to know that what works for me may not work for you, all the way down the line. And by testing and seeing, taking the action instead of, I always say, instead of talking about it or thinking about it, then we can actually know. And then the consistency in that is key to learning.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michele. This was really good information. I hope that all of you that are watching were able to get something from this, because I absolutely did. And if you're watching the replay, thank you again for watching. And I'd like to just give you some information on Women of Vision. We have our Facebook page, womenofvisionmovement.com, on the website, and we have an Instagram, Women of Vision Movement. We also have a podcast every Saturday. It's recorded every Saturday, I think, or every other. Anyways, it's every Saturday, the podcast. And we have our monthly meetings and workshops and vision development meetings. We have all kinds of stuff that go on. It's not just about networking, it's about developing relationships with each other and uplifting and empowering women. So
connection.
Michele, where can we hear more about you? Do you have a website?
I do have a website. You can find me at michellelaine.com. So it's my name.com, which makes it easy. And then I also have a business page under Coach Michele Laine on Facebook. And I'm also on Instagram under Coach Michele Laine. And I can add the links in the comments below if that's easier.
That'd be great. And do you have any workshops or anything coming up? Anything you'd like to promote?
Yes, actually, well, currently I do have the inner piece of weight release I'm working on, and we just started last week. We're taking a little break this week during spring break. So if anyone's interested in learning more about even weight release from an inner game perspective, I have a program running for 6 weeks right now called Progress Not Perfection. So it's learning what's happening with ourselves, learning the eater versus the eating. And it's in beta right now, and I would love to have more women join. We're having a great time just kind of getting to know some of our own habits. And over the next 6 weeks, we'll be exploring some of those very things we talked about today and just bringing some awareness and taking action in where we want to go towards our goals versus away, based off of our values, our drivers, our all of the undersurface things in our habits.
Awesome. That's something.
And learning which are working and which aren't.
Yeah, that's something to look forward to if you can make that workshop. Or in your book, I was wondering, where can you purchase your book?
Yes, on Amazon. It's on Amazon in ebook form as well as hard copy form. And it's under Stronger Than the Storm for Michele Laine.
Awesome.
And you'll see it there, picture of Michele on it. I'd have one or I'd show you, but I didn't bring one.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was fun.
And thank you to everyone for watching. And I hope you all have an awesome day. And
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Talk to you all soon. Bye.
Okay.